the Biofriendly Podcast. It's the Biofriendly Podcast.
We had probably in our 3 false starts for the podcast today that were not recorded and therefore will never be heard by the public.
Right.
We had probably our 3 greatest intros.
Absolutely.
I think
hands down. I would say if you were to make the greatest unaired moments of Biofriendly Podcast,
those would all be
all be there.
Yeah.
They would all win.
They would all win. Mm-hmm. Too bad they don't exist.
They don't exist.
Due to technical difficulties, due to complications, staffing issues.
Yes, there was the main reasons. The first one, which was gold, was I hit record and it was just recording one microphone. And I looked over after the bit was over.
We thought it was my microphone, but it was actually yours.
It was actually my microphone. Yeah. And I looked over and I was like, well, that's nonsense.
Right.
So we said, okay, now we're going to be okay and we can start over again. Right. And then our poor
Ronnie
is not feeling well, and so we had to send her home.
We had to send her home.
Yep.
She's one of those troopers.
She is. She's a fighter.
She's a fighter who says, I can work through it. And we're like, sweetheart.
You got to go. You got to get gone.
Ronnie,
please, get
I'm probably
better.
not allowed to say sweetheart, but she's so sweet. She's such an angel. She's such an amazing person.
What they should know is that our friendship, she works with us, and she's wonderful, but she is somebody that... She's 20 years plus younger than we are, and so we are...
The joke around the office is we're old enough to be her mother.
Exactly.
We are the same age as her mother.
Yes, absolutely. So that it's very much a term of endearment, and that relationship is established.
Yeah.
So we're safe.
Yeah.
We're good.
Anyways, her voice was just...
Yeah, she was fighting through, and she was trying to be like, I'm going to be able to get through today, but as she was talking, you were like...
you don't feel well. You got to go home.
Yeah.
You got to go home, lady.
Go home. Yep. Got to get out of here.
Yeah.
So, anyway, but it's just you and me today.
Yeah.
It's old OG, just Noel and just Jacob.
Noel and Jacob.
The gloves are off.
OJ, Ol and Jacob.
Ol and Jacob. Good old, the Ol and Jacob show. Yeah, and now without a watchful eye on us, anything's possible.
Anything's possible.
The thing is when you add somebody else in the room, you have Veronica watching us.
Then we really watch ourselves.
Really are careful, and we're professional.
We are professional.
But when it's just you and me...
The professionalism goes out the window.
And so this podcast will probably be the most unprofessional podcast. And one thing that I know that's going to be a disaster is the ending. Because we have no one to help us
I don't even know what the ending is.
Oh, I don't know what day it is.
We're gonna be screwed.
Screwed.
Yeah. That's
Screwed McDuck.
Screwed McDuck. You know the guy.
Yeah, of course. But it is the first day of fall today.
It's the first day of the rest of your life.
Yes.
And that means that it's gonna be fall.
It's fall, baby.
The leaves are dropping from the trees today. Every single one of them, they're not even gonna change color, baby. They're just gonna fall off the tree.
That sounds like a Kloopy Magoo song, but then you led into some lounge. So it started Kloopy, and then went lounge.
Yeah, and then Bill Murray showed up. Yeah.
No, it's the first day of fall. We've been celebrating fall early here in the office.
We did. We started September 1st.
Yeah, we were so anxious for it that we said, let's go.
I also feel like fall is a fascinating
state of mind.
month. It's a fascinating month. It's not even a month. It's a season.
It's a season.
But my brain will catch up to what's happening the rest of the show in a minute. It's a fascinating season because it kind of gets overwhelmed by events.
It does.
Right? Like,
it does.
So it starts on September 22nd.
Yep.
And then it goes until December 21st or whatever it is, right? And so in that period of time, you have like a few days.
Yeah.
Like 8 days of fall before really you got to start thinking about Halloween. You got to start putting up the Halloween decorations. You got to start, getting the ghouls, the goblins, the spookables.
All of them.
All that stuff. And so then fall, even though it's there, it ceases to be fall and becomes Halloween.
And then when you're done,
it ends, and you're like, "Oh, it's fall again." But then it's kind of this like pilgrim.
Yeah, and you gotta,
cornucopias.
You gotta plan family get-togethers and food.
You gotta hunt a turkey.
Yes, it just becomes about eating. And then right when you're done with that, and you're like, "Okay, we got a few more days left of fall before it's winter."
Wait a minute. Jesus was born.
Christmas is here.
And then that season just over. And so
Hanukkah.
basically it feels like winter.
Yeah.
Because Christmas is so much about the snow and that great beard that Santa fellow has.
I know.
And just the coldness and and then you feel like it's winter even though it's technically not winter for a whole month.
Yeah, I know.
So fall really gets
It gets the shaft.
It gets lost.
And it's my favorite season.
Yeah, me too.
Hands down.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Probably because of all the stuff that happens.
All the stuff that happens.
But it's an incredible season. And it's a beautiful season.
So I have an idea. Let's point out the magic of fall during all of the podcasts remaining this year. So let's call it out. Let's really give it its due of the majesty of fall and be like, yeah, it's also Halloween, which we adore.
Of course we do.
Love it.
We will have, if you watch on the YouTubes,
Always.
we will have our web up.
The web up, the lights up.
Will go. We'll do it.
We'll have skulls out,
We'll
spooky.
skull it.
Spookables, you called them? You said get your spookables out.
Ghouls, goblins, witches, spookable.
Can I check something real quick?
Sure.
I suddenly had an internal panic because we had a false start, then another false start, another false start. A fall.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. There's nobody to check on us.
I know. We have that's what's going on in my mind.
Veronica would never let us have a pun like that.
Yeah, right.
She'd be like, that is.
She'd go like this.
Oh, guys, you suck.
And I'd be like, in the mic. If you're going to criticize us, just say
criticize
the
us
mic.
in public, please.
But what I want to check is we had a false start, another false start, another false start, and then we stopped the video and I said, hey, Veronica, can you hit record before you leave? And I'm like, I trust Veronica, but sick Veronica, I worry. I'm like, is it recording? So I have in my mind right now, all I'm thinking about is...
She didn't push the button, though, did she? She might have pushed the button.
She might have pushed...
While you're up, heat up my coffee. while you're at it.
How long should I zap it for?
Zap it 23 seconds.
23 seconds. Okay.
Precisely.
Then it's your time
23 seconds.
to vaudevillian.
Talk to the people.
Yes. Yeah. What is it called?
I'm going to vamp.
Vamp.
I like that it's vaudevillian. Vaudevillian vamp.
Yeah. A vaudevillian vamp.
Yeah. So what we will talk about. There's a lot of topics that
he doesn't even know what the topic is.
That Jacob and I have been discussing, talking. Many of you may have heard about the lake that is in the middle of Pakistan at the moment. That's a real thing. That's happened.
Oh no, you're gonna drop that bomb?
I'm not gonna drop that whole bomb. I'm just gonna say it's been interesting because we've been looking into Biofriendly Planet and how can we expand what we're doing with Biofriendly Planet. Because for those of you who check it out and read the articles and get into the part of that, you've probably noticed that we do a lot of tips on Biofriendly Planet and a lot of giving people the scoop. The news of what's happening. Well, how do you get to be more of an environmental so-and-so? Well, that's amazingly hot. That's really good. Thank you.
I went too far.
No, you can't go too far with this mouth. This mouth is meant to be incinerated. Okay. So anyways, we were looking at like news like that, right? And thinking, okay, well, how can we dig in and find out where... what other places are in danger of this? How else could this happen?
Yes.
But it's an interesting balance, though, as we've been talking about this and working with Tara. It's so if we're going to start picking up stories like that, then finding other, digging in deep and seeing what else is out there. Are there other places where this could happen? If you're going to report about that, can you keep it positive?
Right.
Because that gets doom and gloomy.
Yes.
And it's been an interesting conversation we've been having the last little while.
It has.
And it would be interesting to get the audience's point of view coming back towards us as to, we want to be able to dig into some more detailed stuff, into some deeper things to get into it, but still keeping our brand of light, fun, funny, exciting, happy. And I don't think we can do it.
You don't... Oh. He just challenged me, which means I'll do it the best I possibly can.
You'll do it better than ever.
Better than ever. No, I
it's
agree.
An interesting challenge, right?
It
because we've nailed the tips. I think,
and we've nailed
Planet.
the fun, feel good stuff.
Yes,
but
we have.
how do you peel back the education layer even further as to what's going on in the world?
That's so hot. That's so good. Thank you.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's
good hot. Okay. It's just what I want. It's perfect. Okay. If it's not melting my esophagus, then it's not.
It's got to.
It's just not hot
enough.
Got to. To find that balance of being able to dig into. To dig into some of the stuff that I think could expand into newer, different topics. Because I feel like one of the problems about tips and tricks is there's only so many available.
Right.
And we've been doing Biofriendly Planet for years.
Years.
So, at some point you start to feel like you're repeating a little bit.
Yeah. You go, the tips are out there.
Yeah.
If you need the tips, they exist.
We got them. And every once in a while we got to reinforce them.
Of course, sure.
So we're not going to stop doing that. Don't you worry, fans of the Biofriendly Planet and the tips.
And frosted tips.
Frosted tips are coming back. It's the best cereal. Lance Bass eats it.
Lance Bass and Ryan Seacrest. It's my favorite cereal of all is Frosted Tips.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's an interesting challenge.
It is.
But it's something we're looking at doing is to finding a way into that kind of topic while still keeping the fuzz.
Keeping the fuzz.
Yeah.
Got to keep the fuzz.
Yeah. That was my vamp.
It was a good vamp. It was a vaudevillian vamp.
It was vaudevillian.
All you need to. That's a good Halloween costume.
Yeah, a vaudevillian vamp.
Vaudevillian vamp. It's like kind of an old timey vamp, and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna suck your blood."
I'm a vampire. It's gonna distract you with time-wasting conversation while also being some vaudevillian dancing going on.
Play me off, Johnny. Should we get into the subject yet, or should we just? We've had so many false starts. I don't know. Oh, that's great. Are you doing a tap? He's doing a tap breakdown. You really do have amazing feet. I can't believe you got up on this table and just started tapping in the middle of the podcast. All of our listeners, you would not believe what you're seeing right now. Noel is doing. Wow. That is enough to break a microphone.
I did break the microphone, though. That was the only problem with the situation.
It's okay when you're that good of a tap dancer.
I did it. I fixed it.
You did it. You guys won't believe it. I know the majority of the audience just listens to the show. And so they weren't able to see that in that moment, Noel jumped up on the news desk, had tap shoes at the ready.
Tap shoes at the ready.
And just started tearing into a Bob Fosse, Gene Kelly, rip-roaring tap solo. For the likes I've never seen.
Never. It hasn't been done before.
It hasn't been done. You had one. You were on one foot with the other leg in the air, and
somehow still
tapping
like that. Quadruple taps.
Unbelievable.
I know. It's a gift.
That's why we tell you guys you should watch sometimes. Things like that might happen. Okay.
Yeah, let's get the show going.
We've had so many false starts. I don't know where we are.
Put them through enough.
We really have. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yep.
So we have, of course, in the show we talk about batteries, recycling, new technologies, and all that stuff. But there's something I wanted to circle back on, which is we know that there's wind farms. We've talked about the genius idea of you paint one blade of the wind turbine black, and it helps save the birds.
That's right.
Right? Well, we do have a big problem, which is what do we do with the wind turbines when they're done?
Oh, God, no.
Yeah, but this is good.
Okay.
Because this is solutions.
We have an answer.
And the first few are like, okay, these are all reasonable solutions. And the last one's fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I think we wrap up with a fun little exercise.
Okay.
It's going to be great. It's going to be a good ride.
I like to exercise.
You like this? You like to exercise. Yeah, you are exercising. You're getting fit.
I was reading on National Enquirer that poor Gene Simmons?
Gene from Kiss?
No.
Gene.
No, wasn't it? Oh, God.
Gene Simmons is from
Gene
Kiss.
Simmons from Kiss.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
So you're thinking of, who are you thinking of? Richard Simmons?
Richard Simmons, thank you.
Richard Simmons, the exercise guy.
Richard Simmons with the afro.
Yes. Richard Simmons.
Yeah, that people took advantage of that poor guy.
No.
Yeah, that he's like broke.
Oh.
Yeah, they're like the people just were leeching off the dude and take advantage of him.
What? How could you steal from that guy?
It's in the National Enquirer, so you know it's true.
Oh. I bet you that means that we got a Netflix doc on the way, the Richard Simmons story.
I hope so.
Yeah, I love it.
That
And it's called 5, 6, 7, 8.
That guy was a hero. He was the same. That guy, seriously. Think about how many people he helped inspire to
absolutely
to get fit and be healthy.
And his energy was always so fun.
I loved.
He was so peppy.
He was fun.
He was very peppy.
I remember watching him in the background. He was just like, he was so excited about it all.
I loved it. I loved watching those when I was a kid.
Yeah, I don't know what got me there. I'm sorry.
Because you said you were reading about getting healthy. And you said Gene
Richard Simmons. That's like Gene Simmons.
He said Gene Simmons like from Kiss. That's like the bass player from Kiss.
I don't think Gene Simmons has ever done it. Let it work out in his life.
No. He works out his tongue when he sticks it out. That's it.
Very far.
Very far. So here's the 4. These are the ideas about keeping wind turbine blades out of landfills.
Let's do it.
Here's some data for you. Okay. We know that wind is a good solution. It's not the end-all, be-all solution. We've talked about that many times in the show. But it's a good solution where you can install these kinds of facilities, and it's not going to get in the way of the environment, right?
Right.
So, but the biggest question is, what do we do with the towers and blades once they reach the end of their useful lives? Because they do eventually stop working, and they need to retire them.
Right.
Okay? So for most companies, the easiest and cheapest way to deal with spent turbine parts is to bury them in landfills. No.
Well,
we don't want that.
that feels wasteful.
That's bad. That's what people are doing.
That feels wasteful.
Yeah, and so that's
metal. You could reuse that.
That's metal.
It's so metal.
So metal.
It is.
Yeah. And so they're trying to say, while the amount of wind turbine blades needing to be recycled right now is small, the estimate is we'll have about 12 billion metric tons by 2050.
Yeah, well, see, what happens is when you get a new technology, you don't realize
Yeah, they're going to accumulate.
what your waste problems are until it becomes popular and they start to wear out.
Yeah. So the problem is how they're made, right? So about 85% of turbine components, including steel towers and copper wiring, can be reused or recycled once the three-pronged machine ceases twirling. Twirl. We should have a wind farm called Twirl Baby Twirl.
Twirl, baby, twirl. Run by Jerry Harker.
Yeah, run by Jerry Harker. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, we have a movie called House Harker. I had a bloody good time in House Harker, and one of the characters has a catchphrase, which is Twirl Baby Twirl. So that's what we're referencing. Because it's almost spooky season, and they should definitely
watch that movie. It's good. It's a good film.
It's good for this. It's good for this time of year.
Yeah, it is.
So, but the blades themselves are built with materials designed to endure 2 to 3 decades of spinning.
Okay.
Around in high winds and enduring lightning strikes, bird collisions, which we're working on fixing, and other potential assaults from the surrounding environment. They're getting assaulted by the surrounding environment.
Don't call birds slamming into your windmills assault.
Agreed. I'm like various assaults. I'm like, whoever wrote this article, it's like I don't think the blade is getting assaulted. I think the bird is getting assaulted.
I'm going to hand it to this writer. We've complained a little bit in the past about people over apologizing before they start their article in advance to make all the environmentalists feel okay. I feel like this one's doing the opposite. This one took the advice too far.
Too far.
Yeah.
You went too far.
Yeah.
So lightweight glass or carbon fibers are embedded in the plastic resins, forming sturdy shells that can stretch as long as the wings of jumbo passenger jets. That's how big these things are, by the way.
They're big.
They're huge. Yeah. I know that, especially for us in California, when you drive by them, they're always kind of in the distance, and so you don't realize. But if you see a man standing next to one of these blades, they're enormous.
Yeah, they're huge.
They're absolutely huge. Yeah. So one of the first solutions, and I went and highlighted them this time.
Okay.
I went the extra mile because I didn't want to get lost in the papers, trying to do it.
The professionalism.
Right?
And we thought there'd be no professionalism today.
Yeah, right?
No, this
I know.
is good.
It's maybe because Ronnie's not here. Maybe because when Ronnie's here, I feel like I can cut loose and be zany.
Maybe we should let her go.
We should. Ronnie, we're kidding. We're kidding. We love you. Turning turbine blades into utility poles.
Oh.
So that's one solution.
Okay.
So repurposing wind turbines is the main mission of the ReWind Network, an international team of academic researchers. Earlier this year, the group installed a pedestrian bridge made from the turbine blades in County Cork, Ireland. I think actually we covered that. I think it was on a earlier podcast about ways to make good things. I remember reading something, or maybe I put it on the painless screen, something like that. And so they're designing other types of bridges, boardwalks, noise barriers, and bus stops.
Okay.
But last year, the network's members at the Georgia Institute of Technology in Atlanta built a 20-foot tall prototype of a utility pole made from an old General Electric turbine blade. That's pretty cool.
That's good.
That's a good use, right?
Yeah, fun.
It's interesting, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the next. Oh, wait, my screen.
If it holds up, right? Like the back of my brain is saying if it's been degraded over 20 or 30 years.
Well, let's see if they address
in the
that.
Sky.
Let's see what they say.
As it's been spinning, like what's the integrity like, and is that enough that it can still hold up as a pedestrian?
That's a good,
pole.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to start attaching telephone wires or electrical wires or whatever,
it needs to have
or a stoplight or something. Then you don't want it to fall over because it's old and worn out.
Yeah. So you could be like, if you use like wind turbine phone carrier, your calls are going to get dropped.
Yeah, they could be. You got
any moment
potential problem.
Yeah.
These are really old.
These are old turbine blades.
It's old bridge.
These are like 80-year-old wind.
Man.
Yeah, man. The second one.
Yes, number 2.
Crushing blades to a pulp to make blocks in cement. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Enel, whose North American headquarters is in Andover, Massachusetts, is also exploring how to use spent blades for another essential grid technology, long duration energy storage. Telexka said the company is collaborating with energy storage startup Energy Vault to potentially grind up blades, remove the fibers, and use those to fortify the large blocks Energy Vault plans to use for its proposed gravity-based system.
Interesting,
right? I don't know if I quite understand that one as well, but it's something.
I don't know, man.
I don't know, man.
Your bricks are gonna be a lot of garbage in those bricks, man.
Yeah.
We're pretty much throwing rock and stuff in there now. Why not throw some carbon fiber? I don't know.
Yeah.
What the heck?
So it
I think
says
it makes sense to me. Why not?
yeah. Why not? Yeah. So it says in the meantime they're using them to make cement. So this is like a normal thing that's being used right now. So you think so? By the way, if you're already like yada yada yada, no, we're building up to something cool.
Okay.
We're building up.
I'm excited.
The momentum.
I can
this
feel
is the
it.
snowball.
I can feel it building.
Okay. So now this is. Oh, where is it? There we go.
Well, in a minute. Not now,
Not now.
but shortly.
Which page are we on here?
Keep
What? Oh, this is something I wanted to highlight.
driving over my headphone cords.
Do you?
Yeah.
Don't drive over your headphone cords.
I'll try not to, but this car. Well, here's the thing: this car, which is actually not a car at all, but a chair, has wheels,
Yeah.
and I'm rolling on it for some reason.
But it's a very low emission car that you're driving.
Very low emission, most of the time.
Most of the time.
Today it's pretty low
Depends
emission.
if we
There's
went
been
and
other
got-
days where
we've got beans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Full higher emission.
Yeah. But on to the concrete thing.
Concrete.
It just said, so GE provided, wait, what does it say? Sorry. Manufacturers generally don't disclose precise details about the materials used to make their wind energy equipment.
Okay.
But GE provided a 5-gallon bucket of blade chunks.
5-gallon bucket of blade chunks
Which is my least favorite in the Blade series of movies.
Blade
chunks.
Yeah.
There's Blade Trinity.
Yeah.
And then Blade Chunks.
Right. It's also going to be the new title of Green Day's next album.
Blade Chunks?
Yeah. No, a 5-gallon bucket of blade chunks.
Green Day. Green Day's got a new album in 2023 called 5-Gallon Bucket of Blade Chunks.
That they do.
That is a very punk rock sounding
It's a very
album.
punk rock name, right?
Blade Chunks? I love it. Anyway, so they've collected, this company has collected 2,000 windmill blades and processed over 1,500 of them for cement making. So that's the end of that.
Okay. So we're talking
Poles? Cement.
We're talking cement.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Hey,
Yeah.
apparently we're running out of sand, so we got to come up with something.
Really?
That's what my brother told me the other day. I have not read into it yet, but my brother said that
There's
literally,
so much sand on this planet.
apparently the amount of available sand that can be used for things like concrete and whatever else, we're going through it.
What?
I don't know.
I've been to the beach.
I have not verified.
Maybe
this.
maybe that stuff isn't.
Maybe
it's not the right kind of sand.
Maybe the beach sand isn't what they're talking about. Maybe they're just talking about particular sand that you use for road making.
Because here's my opinion.
Yeah.
You have children.
I got children.
And I have children.
You got a couple of them.
And when you take them to the beach, when you leave the beach, you would believe that there's so much sand left in the world that I can't possibly get rid of it.
Yeah,
because it follows you home.
Because I have it
everywhere.
in my house now.
It's in my butt.
Yes.
It's in my shoes.
Yeah.
It's in my towels.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, you'll shake something out and you'll go, sand.
Yeah.
Because it gets everywhere.
George Lucas made that point in Star Wars.
He sure did. I know you so well that I saw it. I was like, he's going to talk about Star Wars. And Anakin Skywalker saying, I don't like the sand.
I don't like the sand. Gets in everything.
It's in everything. Yeah. One of the most powerful moving lines in a movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, and he asked him to play it all so moody too.
Totally,
I feel like
that line would have worked if he had just been like kind of flippant about it. Just been like, I hate the sand. It's just everything. It gets everywhere.
Yeah, I know. I wonder sometimes because I've seen Hayden Christensen in other stuff,
and he's great.
And he's a good actor.
He's a really good actor.
He's a good actor.
Yeah.
But I feel like I feel like that role, while a blessing because you get to be Darth Vader.
Yeah, you get
Spoiler
to be
alert.
Yeah,
sorry.
Jeez. Anakin Skywalker is Darth Vader.
Yeah, sorry guys.
Sorry. If you haven't watched it by now, then geez, I don't know what to tell you.
Cool, because you get to be like one of these iconic villains, and you get to have this incredible role, right? But in the end, I don't know if it helped him or not, because I feel like the way that he was kind of directed, you kind of seem like a one-note actor, but he's not a one-note actor. He's really good. I don't
like the sand.
Yeah,
I don't like the sand.
It's always so. I'm brooding.
It's scratchy.
I'm brooding. I'm pleased.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, and I feel like Mark Hamill, the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So Mark Hamill, he was
whiny.
He was always like, just be the whiny kid, like get him into power converters.
Yeah.
You know,
he directed him to be
was
whiny.
Totally whiny the whole time,
and he's a great actor.
And you're like, Mark Hamill's like not that great, and then you hear him play the Joker's
and you're
voice,
like, he's
and
incredible.
you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, he's a great actor.
Wait a freaking minute.
Yeah. Yeah.
This guy's got chops.
And George Lucas is like, no, just one note, just one level.
You're overacting.
Yeah.
Mark Hamill. Hayden Christensen,
Hayden
you're over.
Christensen.
What I'm looking for in my stars
is one emotion.
a single emotion.
Yeah.
Keep playing it.
Yep.
Stop acting.
So this has been our criticism of George Lucas's directing style. Back to the podcast. No, this is the podcast. We're tangential, but worth it.
I go back and forth with that guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I do.
I mean, I think some of the things he's given us is incredible.
Between the fact that he's an amazing storyteller, like his story ideas
Amazing.
are outstanding.
Amazing.
You
Yeah.
know, but
Yeah.
I don't know that the execution of directing actors in a movie is his forte.
Yeah. We should recycle George Lucas into a windmill blade.
Yeah, let's turn the guy into a pole.
Let's turn him into cement.
Let's hang some
grind him
wires on
up.
that guy.
Let's hang some wires.
No,
We're kidding, George. We love
George
you.
Lucas. Actually, all in all, on balance, love the guy.
Love the guy.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Yeah.
So, number 3, recovering materials by blasting blades with heat.
Wow.
Wow. Weird and wacky sense.
Okay, so let's do it. Let's blast it.
pyrolysis. We've talked about this before.
Pyrolysis. Yeah.
Pyrolysis involves, you like how smooth I said that? I didn't go like people, pyrolysis.
You were in. You were ready.
I was ready.
It's a hot topic right now.
is.
It is.
Everybody's into
Pyrolysis
pyrolysis.
is like, everybody's like, this is it. This is the solution to tomorrow.
Yeah,
Pyrolysis.
that's how I get rid of my body hair. I get paralysis.
Ooh. Is that the place we walk by every day on the way to coffee? The pyrolysis place?
Yeah, you just get your tush
You
blasted.
just walk in, and then a beautiful woman holds a heat blaster.
And I go, what's this process called? She goes, pyrolysis.
It's called pyrolysis. She blasts you
Woo.
with heat
Yes,
just to get your parts.
just to get the parts.
Yeah. Okay.
It involves
She
exposing.
turned Jacob into materials.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm a material girl.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Madonna.
Exposing materials to extreme heat, typically above 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit, in an oxygen-free environment in order to break down the plastic resins that bind the glass or carbon fibers.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. It's a heat that separates.
Okay.
That's what it is, right? Plastic materials that then emerge in the form of a liquid or gas, which can be used to make fuel or to heat buildings. The fibers remain solid and can be repurposed for building materials and auto parts or used to make new composites. So giant oil companies have largely pushed pyrolysis as a way to handle plastic consumer waste. Researchers across Europe have started pyrolyzing turbine blade materials in a handful of experiments. So we're kind of in the experimental phase of this, but we're separating the materials and we're getting a lot of stuff out of it. So that's one of the ways that we can get rid of it.
I mean that's essentially
Recycling. Yeah,
Right?
it's
We're
recycling.
trying to reuse the pieces.
Yeah.
Nice.
So this is our
Did not mean to stretch in the middle of the show, but here I am.
This is our segue, and well, maybe I should just talk a little bit about one of the people that's doing this.
Okay.
Orsted, and they've got one of those O's with a line through it.
Yeah.
So it's probably Norwegian, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Orsted, which is also the
Maybe
biggest.
Danish.
Danish, yeah. But I like it. It looks
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
I like the O with the line through it.
Yeah.
We should do cooler things to our letters.
Yeah.
The American alphabet, the English alphabet.
Pretty basic.
Not the American alphabet.
It's
The
American now.
English
I don't know if you've seen the text chain that my kids give back and forth. That is not English.
That is not English.
My son literally, Talia says to him, she's like, don't you want to add a question mark to the end of that? He's like, no.
No.
She's like,
Right.
but it's a question. He's like, I don't need to, it's a text. I'm not adding a question mark to the text. It's unnecessary.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, how do they know it's a question? It's like, it starts with what?
Oh, our children. They're going to be so incredibly intelligent, but the language system is going to get a little weird, I think, because they are so abbreviating and phrases are shortened and they're like, we don't need that anymore.
I've taken to putting the wrong punctuation when I send Owen texts now.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good.
So in order to really
Teach
see
him
if
a
I
lesson.
can confuse, you know?
That's important.
Like what are you doing?
Yeah.
Instead of being, what are you doing? It's what are you doing? I'm just or question marks on hello.
I love it. Yeah. Hello?
Yeah.
So Orsted, which is also the biggest developer of America's upcoming offshore wind fleet, estimates it will be decommissioning around 4.5 gigawatts worth of turbine blades after 2033. Okay. And so they've committed to reusing, recycling, or recovering all the blades. So they're the biggest producers, but they're also committed to making sure that they don't get thrown in landfills, which is key.
This to me is the problem and the answer for tomorrow.
Yes.
Right? Is you were able to take raw materials and turn them into this thing that you wanted.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And that thing that you wanted got used up and was no longer efficient as the thing that you wanted.
Right.
But it's still a thing.
Right.
Can you turn it back into raw materials?
Right.
So that someone else can take those raw materials and turn it into a blade again.
That needs to be the kind of the going forward how we make everything,
Yeah.
right? Everything that's made, you have to go, you can't create a product anymore than go, well, once it's made, it's stuck that way.
Right.
I can't break it down anymore.
Right.
Like batteries,
Yeah.
a lot of them, you go, I have no way of taking this apart and using it again, right?
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
Dr. Hill was talking to me about, and I've said this 1,000 times on the show. I apologize because I don't know what we've said or what we haven't
Yeah, no,
because
it's okay.
we've done so many podcasts.
Every day's a miracle.
Every day's a miracle. Dr. Hill says to me that he laughs when colleagues will tell him we're running out of copper.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
We're running, it's kind of like what I was saying, we're running out of sand.
So I'm going to reenact it real quick.
Yeah, okay.
We're running out of copper.
No, Colin's he's such an awesome guy.
Yeah, he is.
But you know, he's like, that's ridiculous. Running out of copper. Like, where did it go? It's a closed loop.
Yeah, it's
We
here.
live on the planet's not getting smaller.
Yeah.
We're not shooting things off the planet for the most part. I mean,
Yeah.
a little bit, but
It's
not
all
really.
here. The
Like,
copper you started with is still here.
Yes,
Yeah.
like things from space are slowly but surely coming down to the planet and adding to it. We're getting more stuff.
Yeah.
We're not getting less stuff.
Yeah.
We've just put it somewhere.
Right.
So where did you put the copper?
Go get it.
Go get it and let's use it.
Let's use it. Yeah.
You nincompoops.
Yeah. Nincompoops.
Right. So like, and that's kind of that's sort of that's the point. Like, where did we put the sand? Okay, if the sand is in the concrete now, then why are we just grinding up the concrete and throwing it away?
Right.
That's
right.
still sand.
It's in landfill. It's still sand. We can still use it.
Like, let's reuse it.
Totally.
Which actually they're getting much better at, I gotta say.
And that's where we're headed.
Yeah, that's
where we're headed. It's as if everybody who's been running everything for the past 50, 60 years has been like, I don't know, just throw it away.
Just throw it away.
And everybody was like, no, let's use it again.
Yeah. Well, the moment people saying we're running out of blah, it's like, that can't be right.
We're all here.
Right.
Right.
Like the price of nickel has gone through the roof.
Yeah.
Like there's the people are like, oh my God, we're running out of nickel because we're using more of it because batteries.
Yeah.
Basically,
Of course.
right?
Yeah.
So they're like, oh my God, we're running out of nickel. It's like, okay, well there's a finite amount of nickel, but there's a hell of a lot of nickel
In the world.
out there.
Yeah.
So
Electronics.
yeah.
Pocket change in your car.
Yeah. So if you need it, let's just figure out how to reorganize things.
Are nickels made of nickel?
Yeah, well 25%.
25%.
Yeah.
So all that change in your car dish that you're like, I don't know what to do with this.
If you have a nickel, it's worth about 11 cents.
Really?
Yeah. Hold on to that nickel. Because one day people are going to be like, we need that nickel for batteries.
And you're going to go,
And you're going to be like, I got nickels.
I got nickels. I got lots of
I
nickels.
got lots of nickels.
Like lots of
Save your nickels, folks.
Yeah. Save your
It's
nickels.
it's the one currency that didn't really change
you
that
wanna-
much.
do you
It's
wanna-
like 25% nickel, 75% copper. It's good stuff.
Do you want to add that as a tag? Save your nickels.
Save your nickels. Well, it's like well, I'm on this tangent.
Yes.
We're still tangential, but worth it, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
So like back in the beginning of the last century, up until the 1960s, early
Okay.
60s, I think it was 64 when they changed it. They took us off of precious metals, right?
Okay.
All of the quarters and dimes were made of silver.
Back then.
Uh-huh.
And then they stopped.
So the idea was that like you're trying to make a metal that's appropriate, roughly appropriate, for like the value compared to whatever their thing is. So that what you've got in your pocket is actually worth whatever that thing is. That was the
Right.
idea.
Yeah.
So your 50-cent piece was larger than your quarter because there was more silver in it.
There's more silver.
And then the 25-cent piece was then a certain size. And then the dime was smaller than the nickel because you could make the nickel bigger because nickel isn't as valuable as silver.
Wow. You learn something new every day
Right.
here on the show.
So if you have a 1960, I think, 4
Yeah.
or earlier
Yeah.
coin,
Yeah.
that's real silver. That's
Wow.
like 90% silver.
Go get those old coins, folks.
Yeah,
and
so
hold on to them.
so people used to save those because they'd be
Yeah.
like, "Oh, look at that!" In fact, if you look at gold coins from like the late 1800s into the early 1900s, they were made of gold.
Yeah.
Like your $5 coin was actual gold.
Really?
Yeah, your $2 you had a $2 gold coin, and they were made bigger and bigger based on based on an ounce of gold.
Wow.
$20 was an ounce of gold.
How about that, you guys?
Yeah.
Start coin collecting.
So you collect your coins, and then over time, people are like, we need those materials. Sorry, we're not making stuff out of that anymore. And they stopped doing that. And so people who actually saved those coins and didn't give them away, like they now had really
more
valuable
valuable.
materials.
Yeah.
So now
Yeah.
people actually call it junk silver. Now they'll actually sell it back and forth as like
gosh.
emergency preparedness
Junk silver.
money. And I believe
Yeah.
but because most of our money now is made of copper, basically. It's made
Yeah.
mostly of copper with a little bit of nickel here and there in the nickel.
But we're running out of copper.
But we're running out of copper, and we're running out of nickel.
Give me the laugh. Give me the laugh. Give me the laugh.
Yeah, right. So at some point, and I think it's one of the reasons why they're trying to get rid of cash.
Yeah.
And they're trying to make it all digital. It's like, well, we're using materials to do this. We don't have to use
That
materials.
makes
And we
sense.
can put it on a ledger.
Yeah.
Let's instead put those materials into
Things.
batteries.
Yeah.
So
not
on.
coins in our pockets.
Batteries, computers,
That
whatever
makes sense.
else, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So when everyone else says stop using coins, that's when you know you got to save them because they're going to be worth something.
Save your money, guys.
Your grandkids will be so glad that you got all that loose change sitting around.
Yeah, get one of those buckets in your house. Like when I was a kid, my grandparents had like one of those giant jars, and it was full just from bottom to top of just like random coins.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. There it is.
here it is, folks. The last one that leads us into one of the cool things
Yeah.
that they're figuring out for turbine.
I'm going
blades.
to keep
And this
trying to
is-
distract you with random stories.
I
this
like
week.
it. I like it. This is what you do. This is one
my
of your
jam,
jobs.
baby.
Yeah, it's your jam. Tweaking the chemistry to make the blades that are easier to recycle. I read that bad. Tweaking the chemistry to make blades that are easier to recycle.
Well, that's smart.
Yes. So from the get-go, when we're developing blades, let's make it into something that turns into something else. And so they've already done it.
Okay.
And they have been able to turn blades that eventually can become gummy bears.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
No, it's actually going to work. You're going to be happy. You're going to be happy, I think. Okay.
Oh, God.
Oh, God. Wind turbines could be given a truly sweet second life now thanks to a new discovery from engineers in the U.S.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Made of a resin-coated fiberglass that is difficult to separate and recycle, wind turbine blades average 50 meters in each in length. This is a stat that I highlighted that obviously we've covered.
50 meters. We talked about this so people could get an idea.
Yeah, 50 meters.
50 meters, right?
Yeah, how big is that?
So we're talking like more than half of a football field because a meter is slightly longer than a yard,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So you go to a football game
yeah.
and you're down there looking at the field. So I would say that's like the 58-yard line or something
Yeah.
like that. Don't quote me. We've got smarter people tell you exactly
Yeah.
what it is. But it's more than
Yeah.
more than half a football field is how long these dang blades are.
And that puts it in perspective. They're huge. And so we got to figure out what to do with them.
We got to figure it out.
So chemical engineers at the University of Michigan have developed a new
It's a
recyclable...
fine university.
It is a fine university. They have developed a new recyclable composite resin that can be used to make turbine blades.
Okay.
This is a resin that they've developed.
Okay.
Once the blade is decommissioned, the resin can be recycled into household items and sweet treats. Or it can be dissolved and made into new turbine blades, according to research published by the American Chemical Society.
Okay.
It can be used over and over again in an infinite loop, says professor and researcher John Dorgan, PhD. That's the goal of the circular economy.
That should be the goal of all materials.
Yes, absolutely.
That's good.
So,
I don't know if we should be eating them, but yes.
well, I think he was trying to do it to prove a point more than anything. So to create the new turbine material, Dorgan and his colleagues combined glass fibers with a plant-derived polymer and a synthetic one.
Okay.
Panels made from the resulting thermoplastic resin were strong and durable enough to be used in turbines and cars.
Nice.
After dissolving the panels and removing the glass fibers, they were able to recast the material into new products with the same physical properties. By mixing the resin with various minerals and solutions at different temperatures, they were also able to create completely different products. These range from super absorbent polymer used in nappies. I'm guessing that's
those are diapers.
Diapers
Yep.
to the.
This is a British article.
This is a British
Yeah.
article. To potassium lactate, which can be purified and made into sweets and sports drinks.
What?
Yes. So they were able to turn these resin into potassium lactate.
Wow.
We recovered food-grade potassium lactate and used it to make gummy bear candies, which I ate, says Dorgan. I love that they added that in
Yeah,
there.
he's like, look, just in case you're wondering.
Just in case you're wondering.
I actually ate this wind turbine.
I ate the wind turbine gummy.
That is so fantastic.
Okay, but to your point, the end of the
This
article...
could also be an Australian article again. This could be more bloody.
I think it is. I can tell you who it was. It was Euronews.
Euronews. Okay, good.
Euronews.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's probably a Brit.
Yeah. So, but to your first feeling that you had was it says, is there a yuck factor involved in eating candy that was once part of a wind turbine? Okay. Because you at first were like, oh God,
of course there is,
There's a
right?
yuck factor.
Well, because you imagine you're eating some kind of metal,
yeah, exactly.
right? That's the.
And you're thinking there could have been bird guts on these gummy bears.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, why would they clean them?
Why? Why would they clean it? So he says, so the slug here says, it says, is there a yuck factor involved in eating candy that was once part of a wind turbine? Dorgan doesn't think so. He's the one who was like, and I ate it.
And I ate it.
So he's like,
His name's Torgan?
Dorgan, Dorgan.
And I ate it.
And I ate it.
Yes.
And he's sitting there, and he's the one who's like, it says, Dorgan doesn't think so. And so he's sitting there eating the gummy. He's like,
I think it's right.
I think it's right.
It tastes great to me.
A carbon atom derived from a plant, this is his quote, a carbon atom derived from a plant, like corn or grass, is no different from a carbon atom that came from a fossil fuel.
Right.
He says, it's all part of the global carbon cycle. And we've shown that we can go from biomass in the field to durable plastic materials and back to foodstuffs.
Yeah, I mean, look.
That's his point.
I think he's totally right, and
he's proving a point.
I give the yuck because, of course, you're turning a wind turbine into
of course.
That's showmanship.
Like you see a bag and it says wind turbine gummies, and you're like,
wait a minute.
Wow.
I'm not eating wind turbines.
I wouldn't dare.
You'll never get me.
You
Look, Dorgan.
The media is always trying to make us eat wind turbines. I won't do it.
You dang greenies.
He's like, I think it's fine.
Hey, you don't see the problem with eating wind turbines. You crunch. Look, we all watch Star Trek: The Next Generation, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody.
Of course we do. Everybody does. You do,
Star Trek.
We do. Everybody does. Everybody knows it's the most watched program in the history of television. So go on.
It is the I Love Lucy of television.
Absolutely.
There was a show once for the young people called Star Trek: The Next Generation. Mm-hmm. And one of the cool things they had in that show was a hollow food maker. You would just walk up and you would walk to the thing and you would tell it, make me a hamburger. And it would just
make it. Right.
Out of apparently thin air.
Yeah.
So they already are growing. Like they're in labs, they're making hamburgers. They're doing it, and it costs hundreds of thousands of dollars to eat the hamburgers, but it tastes the same as a regular hamburger.
Yeah.
Because the fact of the matter is, he's right. A carbon atom is a carbon atom.
Yeah. It's the same. When you break it down to its bare essence of what it is, it's all the same.
Yeah. I mean, these molecules are what they are, right? Yeah. For the most part.
For the most part.
And you can, if you can recombine them into different things and do whatever you want, that's how you're going to make food that you can just ask a computer to just make it so. And there it is, right? So eventually, I think that's where we're going to get. Mm-hmm. And that's what's going to make everybody happy, the vegans and everyone else. It's when the food doesn't come from, you don't have to kill anything to get it. You can just make it out of thin air.
Yeah.
Right? And that's, I think eventually that's probably where we're going to go with all this stuff. Yeah. And so this is an example of that kind of in its form today. I imagine that everything he's talking about doing is where we're going to go. What I like about it is it's incredibly expensive probably to do right now. Everything he talked about doing, the process of turning that turbine into a gummy bear is hopelessly inefficient.
Yeah.
But it, just like everything else, the more you do it, the more you invest in it, the cheaper it gets. The better it gets. The more efficient you get at it, the more you can do it at scale.
Yeah.
And then once you get that right, that changes things. And now suddenly it becomes, as you were saying, part of a circular economy.
Yeah.
Part of like, how do we keep just reusing everything? How do we make everything so it can be reused and turned into anything?
Yes.
And that's, I think, the future of industry.
Yeah.
Is that it's constantly creating and recreating the same stuff out of what we have.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. And even as I was going through the article, glancing back, the pyrolysis that we were talking about, they were commenting and saying that's heat intensive, energy intensive. Yeah. So these solutions to separate things. Going forward, we have to find a way that the thing that we make comes apart again, and it just continues over and over again, and we do it in an efficient way that doesn't take a lot of energy, and that's just something we got to solve.
Well, that's what's brilliant about this is thinking in the first place. How can I build this with something that we can recycle later?
Yes,
that's not something that we did in the past, because in the past there was plenty.
Yes, there was so much.
There were plenty of trees.
Yeah.
There was plenty of iron in the ground. There was plenty of everything. We hadn't started using it and putting it everywhere.
Yeah.
Right? And to Colin Hill's point, like you have to go find it and use it. Go get it.
Yeah.
Go get it and reuse it.
Yeah.
Right? This is where we are headed. This is where the world is headed. We have used up a lot of the stuff, and if we don't start reusing the stuff instead of just tossing it into landfills, we are going to run out because we won't know where it is.
Yeah.
We have to dig it back up out of the ground and start pulling it out of old bikes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So this is encouraging and exciting.
It is. And that's what I was finding as I went through, because this whole thing came about because an article said they're turning wind turbines into gummies and gummy bears. And I was like, okay, well, we need to get a little bit deeper into this. What are people doing for wind turbines now? This seems like an idea going forward, but what are we doing today?
Yeah.
What are we going to try to do tomorrow?
Yeah.
And that's the plan. Is what's the long-term plan here, guys, on everything that we build. So that's why I wanted to do this subject today. But there's one exercise I want to do before we close up.
Okay. Oh, before the exercise.
Okay.
This is
no
my
exercise.
This is my daily reminder to the audience that if we're going to be pulling any of this off, we need to be smarter and more open about how we create energy.
Yes.
How we produce energy.
Yes.
We have to find the best options of that going forward. And so this is my plea to the people of the world,
please,
to look again at what can be done with nuclear.
Agreed. That's something.
Just saying all of this is only possible with abundant energy.
Yeah, it's true.
That's true. That's all I'm saying.
This has been sponsored by nuclear
by John's nuclear plants.
John's
nuclear power plants.
You can go. It's like a nursery, like one of those gardening nurseries, and you go in there, all just nuclear plants. It's nuclear plants. I agree.
It's a nuclear power plant nursery.
Now onto my exercise.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
All right.
So you've suddenly been handed a turbine blade.
Oh God, here it is. Oh God, my God, this is huge. It's 50 meters.
What are you gonna do with
across.
it? What are you gonna do with it? What's you've been handed one turbine blade, and you have to figure out what are you gonna do with it. Like, what would you turn it into? I don't know the answer to this. I'm just thinking somebody's like, I've got to dump it somewhere. So now you've got this giant turbine blade. Now in this scenario, you have land, and you have a turbine blade. And you're like,
and the skills that I have today.
And the skills that you have today.
I am going to turn it into a structure. Is probably what I'm going to do.
I had the same impulse.
I'm going to do probably because like I don't have a lab and I'm not really gifted in that area necessarily of manipulating the elements.
Yeah.
So I think for me probably I'm going to get a saw. I'm going to get some tools.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna build something. I probably let's see. I've got 50 meters of turbine blade.
And you have the land. In this scenario, you have it's like in this creative experiment.
Yeah.
You have your house, but this is like you've got all this land, and somebody dropped a turbine blade.
And said
there,
you have to use it.
And you have to use it, and
Right.
you go, I can't put it in landfills. I have to figure out what to do with all this material here.
Yeah, I'm building a deck.
I think it's a great idea.
I'm building a deck. I'm gonna cut it into pieces.
The world's first wind turbine built deck.
I'm gonna cut it into pieces. I'm gonna turn it into a deck.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna put a barbecue on it.
I love it.
And I'm gonna put a little table in there, and I'm gonna hang out, and I'm gonna have parties on my wind turbine deck. That's what I would do with my wind turbine blade.
Brilliant. Yeah. My idea was it's a bed and breakfast. It's like an Airbnb. So you hollow it, you open a door and you build it to where it's a turbine, but it's like a structure that you can go inside.
I'm sorry, I was thinking just the blade.
Yeah.
I get the whole thing.
The whole thing. You get the whole thing. No, it was just the blade. Am I wrong that you wouldn't be able to build inside of a blade? Is it dense all the way through? I thought they were hollow.
I don't know.
Yeah. I actually don't know.
I imagine they probably are. They are probably hollow.
Hollow. So
But
my
I think
thought
that
was just the blade.
I'm thinking like 50 meters. But how tall?
So laying flat.
Yeah.
How tall is the...
Yeah, I feel like you'd be crawling around in there. Like they're very long.
But is it not tall enough?
I don't know.
Okay, but
about an Airbnb might be.
What if you turn it on its side?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What if you supplemental things to help it Airbnb? So you have things that get it tall enough. So basically,
it is part of an Airbnb.
It's part of an Airbnb. So the idea is you can go stay in the world's first Airbnb wind turbine blade.
I mean,
I don't know.
I mean,
I just was like, would you like to sleep in a wind turbine blade? Well, now you can at
You can
Jacob's
sleep
Wind Farm Resort.
In a wind turbine blade. Okay, now if they gave you the whole
The whole unit.
the
tower with
and all of the rest
three
of it.
blades.
Yeah, the tower with 3 blades.
They're like, you got to repurpose this whole thing.
You may be able to convert that into some kind of Airbnb. I'm trying to figure out how you're going to get the beds in there. How you're going to get.
I don't know. That would be my challenge.
challenge.
My challenge would be they would come by and they go, wow, I can't believe you got beds inside this wind turbine blade. I'd be like, well, I know. That's why it's on Airbnb. I don't know. I was thinking to myself, I was like, what would you do if somebody dumped an wind turbine blade to you and said, figure it out, man.
Figure it out.
Figure
Good
it out.
luck.
You can't put it in the ground. You can't bury it. You have to take all this material
and do something with it.
Yeah. So maybe and maybe you're allowed to call in a favor or two and say, well, I need to call a welder. I need to call some friends to help me take this thing apart, use the materials for something. There's probably a million things you could do. You're allowed in this scenario to use whatever means necessary to use that, to take that thing apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, to repurpose it. I don't know.
Okay. Any means
I still
necessary.
like your deck. I like your deck idea.
Any means necessary, I probably would make some kind of cool art sculpture.
There you go.
I probably would turn it into a duck or something.
Turn it into a duck. And it would be a symbol of how wind needs to be returned.
Yes, to nature. Oh, you know what I'll do? What I would do?
What?
I would make a sculpture of an eagle that had just crashed into a wind turbine blade.
So dark. So dark.
Laying on the ground, legs up in pain.
Oh.
Dead. And say, this is what we're doing.
This is what we're doing. Perfect. I know what I'm going to do with mine now. I figured it out.
Okay.
I'm going to make mine into a tap dance floor and have you come over and dance for me. Because after what I saw earlier on the show, I want to spend the rest of my life watching you dance.
The rest of my life. That's all I want to do. Well, I feel like we've come to almost a similar conclusion, right?
Yeah.
So maybe this deck is also a stage.
How about we combine our turbine blades together and create a deck Airbnb stage. And so it's like a whole venue. And it's called...
It's a venue. Let's make a theme park.
Yeah, it's a theme park of our turbine blades.
Yeah. Okay. We keep collecting everyone's
blades. And we build Turbine Land.
Make Turbine Land. And Turbine Land is just a gigantic theme park made entirely of turbine blades.
Yeah, and it all has that very sleek, white, domey type shape to everything. So it looks very futuristic.
It looks like Tomorrowland.
Yeah, it looks like Tomorrowland, for sure.
Jacob, we figured out what to do.
So send your wind turbine blades to P.O. Box, Biofriendly Planet. We're going to get working on this right away. That's the show.
That's it.
That
was a good show.
Well, we tell your friends.
Yes.
Tell your families.
That's step one.
Step one is tell everybody you know. Spread the word and say this is the greatest show in the world.
The greatest form of advertising there is word of mouth.
Yeah,
and
this is what you can tell people. You can say, on today's show, I learned about what they're going to do with wind turbine blades, why George Lucas directs actors to be one-dimensional, why Noel's an amazing tap dancer,
you did,
and why a scientist is eating gummy bears made out of wind turbines.
Yeah. Are we running out of copper?
And are we running out of copper? Those are the things you learn on the show. So when you tell them that, they're going to go, that's not possible. How could I, in the length of a podcast, learn educational things, funny things, movie things?
Can't be done.
It can't be done. It's impossible. No. But you'd say it is possible because it's the Biofriendly Podcast.
Biofriendly Podcast.
And anything's possible. Anything. So tell your friends. Make sure to follow us on our social medias. We're on the Instagrams, the Twitters, the Facebooks. They're all there. You can find us everywhere. But we have been your beacon of light in a gloomy environment.
Jacob's brain is constantly rebuilding itself.
Don't be environmentally gimmicky.
This guy's got bubbles.
And featuring Todd Water Socks.
Take the W and keep on keeping on.
You're allowed to do the second half, whatever you want. Take the W.
Take the W.
Remember, the second half is you. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah. Take the W and move on. Yeah. And then I think we added one last week, but without Veronica here, I cannot remember what it is. Save your nickels.
Save your nickels?
Save your nickels. But there was something that I said at the end of last one, and I can't remember.
It was good.
Wasn't it? It was there, and then it was gone.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. What are you going to do?
You know what? You're going to say there's no Veronica, and so we're just...
So how do we close out her part? Veronica, here, let's do it in a very sad way. Ready?
Okay.
Veronica, do you have anything you'd like to add? See you next time, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
It's the Biofriendly Podcast. It's the Biofriendly Podcast.